Yes, in the last episode, Nick Mason accused me of trying to Mark Maron him by lulling him into a false sense of security with a normal conversation and then recording it.
Well, yeah, you don't need to worry about that with me because I have no filter.
Okay.
So regardless of what you do, it's going to be as though we're not recording because I just lose all concept that anyone might actually listen to this. It's not something my brain can comprehend. So
yeah, the thing is I don't actually put this out. I record it, I store it on a series of discs, and I put it in a box in a cupboard under the stairs.
Yeah, with just for blackmail written on it in Sharpie. Just
but it's also just the podcast is just a very thinly veiled attempt at making friends.
Yeah, great. Well, we all love a structured activity.
Yeah. Look,
makes friendship so much easier.
I don't like a hobby that doesn't result in something tangible.
Yeah.
I can't just do a thing for the pure enjoyment of the thing.
No.
Thing.
Why do that when you can attempt to monetize it or make it your job? Make it so that you're doing it so much that it's no longer enjoyable to you.
Yeah, or even just to continue doing something for the adulation and approval of peers and friends.
Yeah.
And strangers on the internet.
Yeah, always.
That's so important.
It's maybe the most important thing in the world.
Elyce Phillips.
Hi.
Welcome to Reanimates.
Thanks for having me.
I did it. I married you. Suck shit. How's it going?
It's going great.
Good.
How are you?
I'm good because there's a dog here.
There is a dog here.
Dear listener, if you hear a dog, that's a little dog.
That's Tilly.
She's the best.
She's real good.
You could probably hear that.
You can probably get that. Yeah.
No, it's good. It's atmospheric. So this TV show, I thought of you when I was trying to find something for you.
Yeah.
For a very specific reason, because you did a show recently in the Melbourne Comedy Festival about, like late night TV.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And I don't know if this is the sort of thing that also happened in America, but in Australia, this kind of TV show that we're going to be talking about was often on middle of the night, like 3 a.m. We used to get a lot of American, not primetime sitcoms at late at night.
Shows that you've never heard of before in your life, but somehow there are 2-3 seasons of it. Yeah. Just bizarre. Like, I'd never heard of this show before, but it's been out there. It's been existing.
Yeah. Well, so there was actually there was 2 seasons of The Single Guy, which is the show we're covering. There was 2 seasons of it from 1995 to 1997. And I mean, the core cast obviously didn't go on to be hugely famous, but it had a lot of very famous guest stars.
Yeah.
People
actually can pull you up on that. One of the core people in it.
Yes.
Ming-Na, voice of Mulan.
Yes. I was going to mention that. That was probably one of the more notable things.
Yeah.
From the various filmographies of the cast. And obviously, we cannot forget about Ernest Borgnine, who is in this for some reason.
Well, I think it was the law that you had to have an older famous actor who played like a doorman or a shopkeeper.
Yeah.
If you were making a sitcom.
Well, I think they wanted Jackie Gleason. They couldn't get
they couldn't do it.
Yeah. You've got to have one person that is not either young or if you've got, say, an all-white cast, they've got to be a person of colour. They've got to be different in some way.
Yeah.
This show was definitely in the boom of, singles in the city.
Yeah.
That kind of thing where all you needed for a sitcom was a bunch of people who got into not even hijinks.
No.
Just normal situations. You just sort of, I think... People saw what Seinfeld did, and what they took from it was, you just need 3 men and 1 woman, and they're all single, and they have a cafe that they meet at, and they also have someone's apartment that they're in quite a lot. Yeah. And then it writes itself. You don't need to do anything. You don't need to give them any particular character. No.
You don't need to make them distinct in any way. You don't really need strong plot.
With Seinfeld is that I will say those characters all had fairly distinct personalities. Yeah. Even though they had a lot of commonalities and they were all neurotic and weird. But they were all different in their own ways.
Yeah.
In The Single Guy, apart from the fact that 2 of the people are married, they are all the same person. Yeah. They have no distinct personality. Nothing. I mean, even in Friends, you had Phoebe.
Yeah.
At least.
Yeah.
who was, I think we can all admit, the best part of that show.
Oh, 100%.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Just sidebar. I always got so annoyed watching Friends at how shitty they used to treat Phoebe.
Yeah.
Like, she would say something that was genuinely funny
Yes.
or kind of eccentric and quirky, and they would look at her like she was a fucking moron.
Yeah. That's something that I really struggle with sitcom in general, is people say funny things and then their friends just don't react at all.
Yeah, or they say something mean. And it's
Yeah.
like, God, you're normie fucks. You don't deserve Phoebe.
Absolutely do. Bring her around here. Let me treat her right.
Yeah. The weirdest thing, Tilly's on my lap. This is nice.
This has been blessed.
Yeah, the weirdest thing is often that, like, the early seasons of a show, and I wonder if this would have happened with the single guy had it gone to a few more seasons, because obviously Friends went for like 10 years.
Yeah.
Friends at the start was much more normal because they were younger. I think they were like 26 when it started. So they had normal problems like, you went on a shitty date with a weird guy who had a weird quirk, or, you know, you can't make enough money at work. Like normal people problems.
Yeah.
And then by the end it was like very not normal problems.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And it became more insular as well. Like all of their problems were within the group.
Yeah.
So look, R.I.P. the lost seasons of the single guy that may or may not have happened.
R.I.P.
So this was created by Brad Hall, who's done a lot of stuff, but obviously I know him best as being Mr. Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
Yes. Yes.
Which, you know, he should be thanking his lucky stars every day.
Truly.
Yeah.
Truly.
So classic sitcoms, hijinks in the big city. There is that kind of like sitcom bingo that you play of like, oh, here are all the things that happens in seemingly every sitcom. The ones I got in this episode were adults eating cereal in the middle of the day.
Yeah.
Throwing a ball around inside, you know, just for something to do with your hands, I guess, when you're talking.
Yeah.
And obviously something that happens in most TV shows, men being hornier than anything in the world.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Although I enjoyed the twist on the classic, in that there was also a woman who was extremely horny.
Extremely horny, and, you know, did the show approve of that? Who's to say?
Yeah. Weird sexual politics in this one.
So as a classic sitcom, we've got an A plot and a B plot, if you want to call it a B plot. But the A plot kind of infects the other plots. The B plots are barely distinguishable from anything.
I think you got an A plot, B plot, C plot, D plot kind of in this one.
There's a lot happening, but
there's a lot going on.
It's more just like you know, with the Manny plot, we don't really follow that. It's kind of like a couple of jokes that then wrap up at the end.
Yeah.
But our A plot is that we've got our main character who is Jonathan, played by Jonathan Silverman. It is funny that, you know, the way your brain remembers things and the memories they associate with certain people, because to me Jonathan Silverman is a very small role he played on Friends, and again I don't know why I remember this joke. He plays a doctor at the hospital. I think it's when Ross's wife is giving birth, and Rachel is hitting on this doctor because he's very attractive.
Yes.
And he's a gynecologist. And he makes a joke about you know, that he has trouble dating. Yeah. You know, and she's like, "Why?" And he's like, "Well, you're a waitress, right?" She's like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Well, don't you ever just get home and you're like, if I see one more cup of coffee." I'm like, that's a good joke.
Pretty good joke.
That's a good joke.
That holds up.
That's what I mean. Those earlier seasons of Friends are actually pretty good.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So Jonathan, as far as I can tell, it doesn't come up much in this episode, but apparently he's a novelist.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that would probably explain why he's often into hijinks, because he often needs money.
Yes. Yeah.
And then we've got Trudy and Sam Sloan, who are a married couple.
See, I did not get married from them at all.
No.
Watching this episode,
I think at one point Sam calls her baby, but apart from that,
okay. Because are they the two doing the audio stuff? No.
No. So he's doing the radio station.
Yeah.
With someone else.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I was going to say that makes for a weird married relationship.
Well, yeah. The way that plot
goes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So Sam works at a radio station. Trudy runs a gallery or works at a gallery.
Right. Yes. Sorry, I've watched this not an hour ago, and I've forgotten everyone's name. It's really just gone through my head.
So as we said, Trudy is played by Ming Na Wen, who did the voice of Mulan.
Yes.
She was also Chun-Li in Street Fighter.
Oh, yeah.
The A-plot includes Trudy getting some big artist for her gallery, Carl Gannon, played by Rick Overton, who we'll talk about later. To exhibit his latest piece in the gallery, she volunteers Jonathan to go and pick up the piece from the artist's house.
Yes.
Why not? A normal thing that probably happens.
Yeah.
He goes along with Manny, who is our Ernest Borgnine old man friend, because his wife has kicked him out.
Yeah.
Because as far as I can tell, I would want to watch the first couple of episodes of this show, because as far as I can tell, Manny is the doorman for the building they all live in.
I think so.
And they're friends with him.
I guess.
Yeah.
I guess.
So yeah, they just hang out with their doorman who's an old man.
Yeah.
Look, it's kind
of not on the door.
They're just hanging out.
Yeah.
Look, it's quirky, it's fun.
Yeah.
They're appealing to the working man.
Yeah. Yeah. Honestly, nice that they're friends with him. I don't think you'd see that these days. And it's a damn shame.
Due to woke. Oh, these days you wouldn't have a doorman, you'd have a door they.
You would. You would.
Apparently, Ernest Borgnine really enjoyed working on this show, though.
Oh, that's nice.
The creators, I think, did a lot of retooling of the show between season 1 and season 2, which apparently made it not as much fun. Here's a little clip of Ernest Borgnine talking about it.
I said, "What is it?" Somebody's playing the part of a doorman. I said, "Well, I never played a doorman before. Let's go." So I'm the doorman. That's the doorman of all these people in this apartment house, and I'm having a ball, the time of my life. And that's what the most fun at all. And I tell you, it was just a joy. And then they started pulling out this here and doing that there. And the first thing people started looking like, what are we going to do next? And that the whole thing just fell apart. And you say to yourself, why? Why does it happen? Why? Because somebody in the front office just doesn't care anymore. And that's why it all fell apart. It's amazing, isn't it?
So yeah, our B plot, in as much of a plot, is Sam working at the radio station and his co-worker, whose name I have already forgotten.
Yeah.
They do Foley for a weird movie. That's the whole plot.
Yeah. I don't understand what the movie is. Every scene that they show seems completely disconnected from everything else they show.
Totally different genres in every single plot.
It's a martial arts film and a romance and World War II.
And a horror film. Yep. And also their Foley is terrible.
Oh, it's really bad.
Yeah. I don't understand how... I mean, look, I'm not an expert in sound effects or Foley.
No, but
I just would have thought that you would get things that sound anything like the sound you're trying to make.
Yeah, I would have thought you'd have it like a mic.
So I guess C plot is also their friend Russell, played by Sean Michael Howard, who is trying desperately to find somewhere to fuck his girlfriend.
Yeah.
That's his whole plot in this episode.
Yeah. Really concerning to me that he can't just book a hotel room.
Yeah.
The way I would immediately dump this man.
I can't remember his reasoning for not. He says something about his
one has housemates and one lives with their parents.
Yeah, so his girlfriend lives with her parents, which I'm like, all right, how old is she? But whatever.
Yeah, true. Actually, she's in no position to judge.
But also, there must have been some other reason about, because just having housemates is not enough of a reason to not fuck in your apartment.
Surely,
we've all done it. when given the opportunity.
It's not the favourite thing to do, but if needs must,
put some music on.
You figure it out.
Put some music on.
Yeah.
Put the door snake under the door.
Yeah.
So that, yeah.
There'll be some part of the day where they're out. It's not everyone home all the time.
Or you could just do what one of my very first housemates did in my first share house in Brunswick and just fuck with the door open when you know people are home.
That's so chill.
Yeah, that's cool.
We love that.
Cool and fun. And then, it also means that your housemates that are home, and they're home, are too afraid to leave the lounge room.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want to make any noise, because I didn't want them to know I was in earshot, even though they knew I was home.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, that sounds great.
No, it was great.
I'm so glad you've had that experience in your life.
So he gets into various hijinks trying to find somewhere to have sex because he is a man in a sitcom, and that is the only thing he cares about.
That's all they need to do.
Yeah. So when we do eventually go to the gallery where Trudy is trying to set up for this exhibition, that is where we meet Jeffrey Combs.
Yes.
Yes, he is in this. I didn't just decide to cover this sitcom for no reason.
This is the first thing I've ever seen Jeffrey Combs in.
Amazing.
And what an intro.
Yeah, I'm glad.
What an intro.
I actually kind of love doing that. Like, because obviously I get people on who are like big horror fans, because you have a lot of horror movies. I get people on who are big horror fans. They know all about him. And so, you know, whatever. But it's kind of fun to introduce people to him in these ways where he's being quite strange.
Yeah.
So he's playing Klein, just Klein. Who is, I guess, some sort of party planner.
I think so. That was the vibe I got. Yes.
Yeah. Very camp, very flitty.
Doing a lot of flinging the arms around.
Yes, yeah. And, you know, I will say, that is very Jeff, though. Very animated.
Yeah.
And very big performer.
Great.
I guess, here's a little clip of what he's doing.
I really appreciate you doing this on such short notice. Now, are you sure you can pull together a party in 9 hours, Mr. Klein?
Just Klein.
Oh, right, Klein.
Okay, let's make a statement. Here, I see melon balls, floor to ceiling, cantaloupe, watermelon, no honeydew. Here, I see a chariot filled with crab legs, a gladiator here holding the cocktail sauce. Ivan would be perfect for that.
Delightful.
He's having a good time.
Yeah.
And once again, he's the best thing in this show.
Oh, absolutely. He had the only line that I laughed at watching the entire show.
Which was?
When the canapes are coming out, and he takes a bite of one, and he's like, ugh, what's wrong with this lobster? And the person who brought it out is like, it was chicken. And then the way that he just immediately looks very apologetic and says very softly, it is good though. That did make me laugh.
Yes.
That was, it got me. It was unexpected.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that.
I liked his various little touches. He seems to be in love with his assistant, Ivan. That's very sweet. Again, he is not given enough to do. I feel like, you know.
No.
There was a couple of scenes where I was like, he's meant to be the comedic. He's meant to be the, you know, Martin Short and Father of the Bride.
Yeah.
In this.
Yeah.
You know, whereas everyone else is not. They're not really saying jokes.
No.
Give him some jokes.
Such a big character choice to have in an episode and not have that be what the episode is about.
Well, I guess they were also trying to make Carl the artist be a bit bigger because he's the reason that we're at the gallery in the first place.
Yeah.
So Jonathan and Manny go to the house to pick up the piece. The piece isn't there.
Yeah.
But Carl's assistant Kari, played by Christy Conaway, who is the Ice Princess from Batman Returns. There you go. She is there.
Yeah.
And because they are both attractive people around the same age, Jonathan and Kari are both raring to fuck each other. They start like rubbing each other's legs like over Manny, like he's sitting in the middle of them.
Jonathan is just straight up rubbing Manny's leg.
He doesn't.
It's a fun joke.
Yeah, it's
be accidentally be a man rubbing another man's leg. That's real classic 1997 humor right there.
Oh God, imagine doing such a thing.
Oh, disgusting
and funny.
Yeah.
Comedic in its vulgarity.
Yeah.
So they decide to just fuck while Manny's there.
Yeah. It's a fun choice.
Very strange. Again, it speaks to that desperation to have sex, that they would just go upstairs and fuck while Manny is just downstairs waiting for them.
Yeah.
It's, what are you, teenagers? Come on.
Yeah. Way off it.
This is a pretty good midpoint. Well, I might as well. To pause for a game.
Okay.
How do you feel about a game?
I love a game.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Tilly, how do you feel about a game? You're so right. So this is basically a true or false.
Okay.
I'm going to give you films that may or may not be from the filmography of Rick Overton, who played the artist Carl Gannon.
Okay.
He has a huge filmography,
Cool.
the biggest of anyone on this cast.
Oh, wow. Okay.
You know, like something ridiculous. 170 or 200 films, something like
Wow.
that.
Okay.
Just true or false?
Okay.
Are they really on his filmography, or did I make them up?
Okay.
Shoot or be shot?
Oh, true.
True. An escaped mental patient holds a film crew hostage and forces them to read his screenplay.
Great.
That film sounds interesting, except when you see that William Shatner is in the lead.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, dear.
So, like, because I thought that sounded like a really interesting premise for a film.
Yeah.
And then I saw it was Shatner, and I was like, oh, nah.
Nah, I give that one a miss.
Yeah. But I hope somebody takes that premise
Take that concept, yeah.
and makes a good film out of it.
Yeah, that would be wonderful.
All right. Extreme honor.
But false.
It's true. A highly decorated Navy SEAL is forced out of retirement in order to save his son's life and bring justice to the man who destroyed his career. So bring justice to the man who destroyed his career. Bring justice against the man? Well, because you bring justice to a person that has been wrong. Do you bring them justice?
Bring the hammer of justice down upon.
Hammer of justice, that's a different thing. That's an instrument.
That is, yeah.
That's a physical act of hammering the justice.
Yeah.
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 I would say you bring justice against somebody.
Yeah.
Or what do I know? I'm not a retired Navy SEAL.
Yeah.
And I never will be.
I mean, being a retired Navy SEAL, I would say it's not his duty to be doing anything justice for nor against. That's for the court.
Well, yeah, he's no longer in the force. He really should be focusing on gardening.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not your jurisdiction.
Do woodwork.
Yeah.
Pick up hobbies.
All right, number 3. That's adequate.
That's got to be false, surely.
No, it's true. It's
What?
It's a comedy film. It actually sounds kind of fun.
Yeah.
It's a fake documentary about a fictional Hollywood studio.
Okay.
It actually sounds pretty good. So it's got Jerry Stiller, Richard Lewis, Robert Downey Jr. playing Einstein.
What?
Sounds really weird. Yeah. So yeah, I was like,
I'm genuinely going to track that down and watch that.
yeah. If I find it, I will post it on the socials so that we can all enjoy, hopefully, something that doesn't have great reviews on Letterboxd, but I don't care.
It's adequate.
Yeah.
They've said it right there.
I don't care what people on Letterboxd say. I've got great taste. Number 4, The Adventures of a Lazy Wife.
True.
It's false.
False.
I made it up.
Ah.
Haha, but it sounds like a real stupid movie, doesn't it?
Yeah. Please write that. I want to see that.
What is The Adventures of a Lazy Wife about?
I think it's probably a wife that has rotted in bed for so long that she passes through the bed in an Alice in Wonderland type down the tunnel sort of a way.
Oh, yeah.
And then discovers a magical land populated by Jim Henson creatures.
Okay, so it's like Fraggle Rock.
Yeah.
But everyone's on, like, uppers.
Yeah.
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 Okay. I like that. Is the Fraggle Rock land a metaphor for her being dead?
I think it's probably a metaphor for her repressed sexuality.
Oh.
Her husband being useless.
Oh, yeah. Muppets as lesbians. Yep.
Yeah.
That is classic.
Classic stuff.
It's what Henson would have wanted.
Yeah, truly.
Let's make it happen. Hello, studio. I've got $1 million idea for you. All right. Number 5. Comedy hell.
True.
It's very true.
Yeah. True.
And also the film is true, yeah. 3 stand-up comics cross paths with a religious zealot who is killing devil worshippers, blasphemers, and now comedians.
Oh, wow.
Which is the next on the list,
Yeah.
obviously. In terms of real hardcore sinners, comedians is up there.
It's really up there. I'm honestly surprised that they're that far down the list. I would have started there.
Blaspheming is one thing, but, you know, getting up and telling jokes about, like, you know, Tinder.
Yeah.
That's a whole other sin.
Yeah.
Yeah. Number 6,
Okay.
A Dog's Day in Court.
Oh. False?
Yeah, it is false. I just thought that was a funny image.
Yeah.
Imagine having to take a dog to court. What did he do?
too.
Oh, you ate too many bones.
I hope it's a sequel to Air Bud, because he's broken contract.
Oh no! Turns out a dog can't play basketball.
It was in the rules all along.
Oh no!
Yeah.
They take him to court. He goes
now
to
he's got
jail.
an answer for it. Yeah.
Is his lawyer a dog?
I think so. I
Has to
think
be.
there is no rule that says a lawyer can't be a dog. And then, obviously, the sequel after that, we find out, no, there is
Oh, yeah.
absolutely a law against that. And
Yeah, he gets-
the lawyer dog has his day in court.
The lawyer gets disbarred.
Yeah.
Or disbarred. Yes. I mean, that's what it's called.
Yeah,
Yeah.
disbarred.
Yeah. Order in the court. And he hammers the gavel, and all the
Yeah.
dogs go crazy because
Yeah.
they think someone's at the door. Oh. All right, number 7. The Penis Files.
True.
Yes, unfortunately.
Yeah.
All right, this has a long description for some reason.
Okay.
Until the Olsen penis was created by Dr. Olsen 10 years ago, historically men's penises grew for procreation when a woman ovulated and retracted immediately.
Right.
200 years ago, men who were devoutly religious and monogamous experienced penile growth for procreation only. Conversely, women have always been born with vaginas and sexual freedom, not governed by religion or politics. In February, a committee of women met to discuss the Olsen penis being covered by Obamacare. What the fuck is this movie about?
See, I understood every word you said there, but the combination of them has fried my brain.
Yeah, I don't
think anything they said about women was true there.
No. I mean, I don't think any of it was true in any, medical sense.
To give that thorough description and still be no clearer on what an Olsen penis... Is it one that's just rock hard all the time?
No idea.
Like, what they've described there is, like, what I would assume, if you are a penis haver, is, like, the ideal situation, where it's doing its thing when you want to be in a sexual situation.
Yeah, you don't want it to be hard all the time.
And this sounds like the penis that they've come up with, the new Olsen penis, is one that is different to that somehow. So I would assume either
also,
hard all the time.
What do they mean when they say a woman ovulated and retracted?
Retracted.
What is it? I mean, as far as I'm no doctor.
No.
I don't know that women's ovaries retract.
I mean, they're sort of just in there, aren't they?
They don't go anywhere as far as I'm aware.
They don't move, I don't think.
I mean, the only thing I can think is that they've confused ovaries with, like, the uterus, how it, like, sheds.
Yeah, but even that's not retract.
It's probably getting
eject.
smaller because it's... Anyway, if you know the makers of the penis files,
Please.
tell them to call in.
Yeah,
And
email me.
Also, on IMDb, under the More Like This tab, is suggested Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Probably not.
Probably not.
No.
Probably not. Because I could you could probably, like, the title kind of describes exactly what's going on in that film.
Yeah. There's very little penis in Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Very little.
I would say none.
Yeah. Yeah, none from memory.
And as far as I'm aware, I don't think anybody's ovaries retract in Ferris Bueller's Day Off. So Rick Overton's had a very interesting
illustrious career.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna try to find the penis files. I think I really want to watch it now.
Yeah. Just, I mean, to get over my confusion for one, I think that's going to haunt me until I can make peace with what that film actually is.
I think that watching it will not help that.
Probably not.
No,
probably not.
Other notable inclusions in his illustrious filmography are a TV series about a guy obsessed with coffee, which is called You and Your Fucking Coffee.
Correct.
That went for like 3 seasons.
Wow.
I don't know how many situations you can get out of just wanting coffee all the time.
Yeah.
Oh, I feel like a coffee. Oh, I'm late for work. Oh, no. Oh, you and your fucking coffee. Audience applause.
Yeah.
A movie called The Metrosexual from 2007. Back when...
That was a thing.
That was a thing, yeah. You know, back when a man washing his face was considered borderline gay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Outrageous.
I mean, disgusting, really.
Truly.
That men would, wash their ass and put gel in their hair.
It's gross.
And then a movie called Serial Killing for Dummies, where they have misspelled dummies.
Great.
And I don't know if that's on purpose. It's funnier if it isn't.
Yeah.
All right. Tilly, do you think we can get back to the show?
Would you let us?
Yes, you're right. That's so true.
Yeah.
There's an interaction between Klein, Jeff, and Carl Gannon, which I think is pretty funny.
Oh, this is Klein. He's helping me with the preparation for the party.
I love you. Of course you do. Now go away.
That's kind of funny.
Yeah.
I mean, look, if you can get a couple of decent comedic lines out of a 25-minute sitcom, that's not nothing.
That's not nothing.
I still think you should have a higher joke rate.
You should. You really, really should. But they've done enough that I'm not watching and thinking it's a drama.
No.
I can see what they're trying to do.
I mean, they've got a laugh track.
They do.
That tells me where the jokes are meant to be. It is one of those shows where I actually often can't tell the difference between canned laughter and a studio audience. I'm sure if you put 2 and 2, like put 2 next to each other and said that's real and that isn't, I'd be like, oh yeah, I can kind of see the difference. But to me, I was like, I don't know if that's canned laughter or a studio audience.
Yeah.
So I don't know if the audience are genuinely laughing at these non-jokes or if that's just like a button.
I'm inclined to say it was a studio audience just from the sets.
Well,
like,
yeah.
it looked like the sort of thing they would have got an audience in for.
But it's just crazy that, like, because some of these are not actually jokes. They're just things that a person said.
They were making liberal use of an applause sign. They had like a very good warm-up guy on set.
Kari and Jonathan would go upstairs. They're about to fuck. And it turns out that Kari is the art piece.
Yeah. A huge plot twist. When did you pick this plot twist?
Probably 2.5 minutes into the episode.
Yeah, same. So they've really...
I guess, there's a certain amount of suspension of disbelief in the idea that that Trudy would not know what the art was.
Yeah.
And would accept Carl not telling her.
Absolutely.
You run a gallery, bitch, okay? Come on.
Yeah. World-famous artist with very expensive art pieces. Sending your mate to go pick it up who has no experience in handling art.
I will say that she gives him, is it like $700?
$750?
Yeah. Like, she's like, oh, we've got $750 in the budget for transport.
For transport.
That's a lot of money in 1993.
Yeah, that's enough to send people who know about art with a truck.
Yeah.
With protective equipment to wrap the piece in.
She doesn't know how big it is.
She has no idea what it is.
Yeah.
And she's just sent her mate and Ernest Borgnine in a car.
It's just a normal car.
Just a normal sedan.
I do wonder, I don't think they talk about Carl Gannon's previous art. They just keep saying he's a famous artist.
Yeah.
What kind of art was he doing previous to this?
Yeah.
Was he just doing like nice landscapes before this and then he's like, fuck it, I'm going to do like outsider weird shit?
Yeah. It really feels like she should have seen it coming.
Yeah.
Given, like, they rock up to his house and his house is an art piece.
Yes.
She should have been prepared for it to be quite a large piece of art.
At least, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, because they rock up to the house and it's like, what is it? It's sort of like very normie.
It looks like your nan's house in the 90s.
Yeah. And then apparently Kari explains that Carl bought it as a statement on sort of the mindlessness of suburbia or something like that. And then it's funny because Manny really likes it.
Yeah, he comes in, he's like, oh, lovely house.
Yeah, you know what? It is a lovely house.
It is actually a lovely... I would
love a house like that.
I would give to have a house.
The sitcoms of the 90s did not know what they had. You know, like when you look at like even in Friends, the boys' apartment, that's meant to be like the shittier apartment of the two.
It's huge.
Do you know how much you'd pay for an apartment like that anywhere in Melbourne? I don't know how much a studio audience costs, but you can't get that in Melbourne.
No.
Not for less than $1,000.
Unless you want some real elderly people that you're going to have to give quite a lot of sparkling wine to really get them going.
Yeah, that's true. Or if you just like fuck on your balcony and you've got like a lot of houses nearby.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot of that where, people be like, oh, I've got this tiny house. It's like, bitch, have you seen my flat?
Have you seen?
But they didn't know what was coming.
No. None of us did.
So Kari is the art in the sense of she is a virgin. I do realise now I didn't say what the episode was called.
So it is actually a huge plot twist for your listeners.
I know. I actually, maybe that's...
You've done a better job than the episode itself.
Yeah. I mean, calling the episode literally the thing that the episode is about makes a lot of sense, but this does bury the lead. Anyway, the episode of the show is called The Virgin.
It's called The Virgin.
Because that is the name of Carl's art piece.
Yes.
And it turns out Kari is the virgin. Her virginity is insured for thousands of dollars. Because she is consenting to this. It isn't Carl just taking advantage of her being a virgin.
I mean, thank God, because it really could go either way.
Yeah.
Sitcom of that era.
So yeah, she's just, I guess it's like a spectacle that a woman who's apparently 30 is still a virgin. Again, it's fine that she has decided to make herself the art piece.
Yeah.
And that Carl is like,
go for it.
Thinks this is interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, what follows is a bit strange.
Yeah.
Yeah. Although we do, we do pop periodically into the radio station where Sam and his coworker are doing the Foley. No one gives a shit.
No.
At one point, Russell and his girlfriend are trying to fuck in a tent.
Yeah, in the middle of Central Park.
In the middle of Central Park. They are accosted by a horse-mounted cop played by Mariska Hargitay.
Yes.
Yeah. That was nice. Was she...
Lovely to see her.
Look,
at any time.
Love her.
Yeah.
You know.
Right.
I wonder if she was already on SVU at this point. I don't know how early SVU started.
Well, I think SVU started before television.
That's true.
I think it's just been going for hundreds of years.
Yeah. I think it started in Plato's Cave.
Yeah. That's the first thing that they saw the flicker of on the wall.
Well, they knew that in the criminal justice system, sexually based offences are considered especially heinous.
Yes.
Yeah, so they knew that there had to be an elite squad known as the Special Victims Unit.
Yeah.
And that you wanted to see their stories.
These are their stories, yeah.
Yep. Dum-dum.
Dum-dum.
Yep. So while Kari is desperately trying to get Jonathan to fuck her, because she is taking the lead on that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Like, Jonathan is like, I don't think we should.
Yeah.
And then Kari is like, she keeps just like taking off her robe to show her shoulders.
And then the robe is back on. And then she'll take it back.
Then she'll take
down.
it off and he'll be like, whoa.
Yeah. But you really were restricted by what was allowed on TV at that time.
That's true.
So I understand that they're not getting any racier than
Shoulders.
a shoulder.
Yeah. Yeah,
but quaint.
She is wearing like a chemise, I would say.
Yeah, satin. She's gorgeous.
Yeah.
But it does look like pajamas you would wear to go to sleep.
So while Kari is trying to get Jonathan to fuck her, Carl is at the gallery with a TV set up.
Yeah.
And it turns out that the new exhibition is called Temptation, and the idea is for Jonathan to fuck her.
Yeah.
So the idea is for the virgin to lose their virginity.
Yes.
I believe Jonathan describes it later as to turn the deflowering into an art exhibit. Look, I don't know much about art.
Yeah.
I don't know what the statement there is.
I'm not entirely sure. It does feel like something that's probably been like extensively covered by the porn industry, even at that point.
Oh yeah.
What I do think is quite advanced for this piece of art is the live streaming capacity from the house to the art gallery.
That's true.
Connecticut to New York.
Yeah. This is only, 1995 or something? Yeah.
Directly to a TV that doesn't seem to be plugged into anything other than power to the wall with like a VCR underneath it, like an old what your school teacher would roll into your classroom in the 90s.
Actually, that whole setup looks exactly like that.
Yeah.
It looks like we're about to watch BTN.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I do realise now, cameras would have been so big.
Yeah.
How would Jonathan not have noticed a camera that size in the room?
Yeah.
Like whirring loudly.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Because the footage that's coming through is what we're seeing in the sitcom.
It's
not like
it's fairly
weird
clear.
Security footage. It's not like a nanny cam hidden in a bear or something.
No. I think it's black and white, but that's to be expected. But yeah, I didn't even think of that level of technology. I mean, because I would have been too young to have been fucking around with cameras at that age. But yeah, interesting. I wonder if Carl Gannon is a very famous artist.
Yeah.
He's probably very privy to technology that we don't even know about.
Yeah, he probably invented Wi-Fi.
Like, again, one of those things where all the hijinks wrap up in the end.
Yeah.
The Foley stuff and Russell trying to fuck his girlfriend end up synchronizing because Sam and his coworker don't want to have to do the Foley for a couple making out.
Yeah.
Because they're...
The only way to do Foley for that would be to make out with someone. There's no other way.
There's nothing that sounds like that.
There's nothing that sounds like that on this planet. They couldn't possibly put their mouth on anything else.
And it has to be two people that really enjoy it as well. Otherwise,
obviously,
it wouldn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Russell and his girlfriend go and do the Foley, and they can make out. Presumably, they also fucked in the radio station.
Yeah, that's what it heavily implied.
Yeah. But that's fine.
That's fine.
Go for them.
Yeah.
So the episode wraps up with Manny. So the reason his wife kicked him out is because she saw that he had kissed another woman in Times Square.
Yeah.
what actually happened is that Manny turns out to be the man in that famous post-World War II photo of the man dipping the woman and kissing her in celebration of the war ending.
Yeah.
And then to demonstrate that Elyce Borgnine has to dip and kiss Sam, which is obviously very funny.
Obviously.
Because it's two men kissing.
It's two men kissing.
I'm not unhappy about sort of the idea that, because the way that joke plays out is like pretty standard.
Yeah.
Like you think it's one thing and it turns out to be something else that you already know about. It's very strange to have even bothered with all of that. Like you didn't need a reason for Manny to be like along for the ride.
No.
He could have just invited himself.
He could just come with.
Yep. But again, when you've got an A plot that's focusing pretty heavily on maybe one or two characters, you've got to give the other people something to do.
You really do.
I mean, I'm thinking about all of those B and C plots in Friends, and I'm just like, wow, that should not have eaten up as much time as it did.
No.
No. So that was the Single Guy. Where would you rate it in the pantheon of American sitcoms that we as Australians have had to watch or wanted to watch?
It's pretty low down because there are sitcoms that are worse, but worse in a way that I enjoy them more.
In what sense?
We'll say like Perfect Strangers is a terrible sitcom.
Why?
Because the plots are terrible and often make no sense. But I do own the DVD of Perfect Strangers. And I will rewatch it. Like, I love it. But I know that, like, artistically, as a sitcom, it's not good.
But the execution is enjoyable.
The execution is very enjoyable.
Yes.
But this, I can't see myself going watching more of it.
Yeah.
It just feels very filler. It's very, we need more sitcoms. We're just going to take bits and pieces of the sitcoms that are doing well, cobble it together.
There's nothing particularly interesting about any of the characters. Like,
no.
Friends, like, you know, every character had their sort of distinct quirks and personalities, whereas obviously I've only seen this one episode, but apart from the fact that Manny is old, all of these characters were the same.
Yes.
Like, they had the same very bog standard personality.
Yeah, yeah. And they have jobs that on paper sound interesting, but then you see them at their jobs and there's nothing particularly specific about the jobs. They don't know what they're doing at the jobs.
Yeah. Well, they're fine at the job, and they only need to be at the job when the plot serves it. It's kind of the same with Friends, where they're almost never at work.
Yeah, yeah.
The only reason Rachel is often at work is because they are often hanging out in her work. But again, look, I understand the function of a sitcom. Like, we're not going to see them doing nothing.
Yeah.
Because that would be boring.
Yeah.
But yeah, as you're right, something like Perfect Strangers, you can have loose plot, tenuous kind of situations. But if they're executed well, it's enjoyable.
Yeah.
This is the tenuous plots and the silly jumps in logic without being particularly interesting or enjoyable.
Yes. It does have like a 90s aesthetic that I really enjoyed, all the sets.
Yeah, but is that just nostalgia? Because
I think it probably is.
Of what everything looks like now?
Maybe.
Yeah.
It's nice to see like a purple wall.
Like, things looked cozier in the 90s.
There was clutter.
Houses looked normal. Houses looked like normal people lived in them.
Yes.
Shows now, everything is too clean.
Yes.
Too
it's white and grey.
White and grey. Everything's too clean. Everything looks like a Kmart showroom.
Yeah.
Like someone was given like $200 and it's like, just go buy what normal people have in their houses from Kmart.
Yeah. 100%. If it's an Australian show, that's exactly what's happened.
Oh yeah. If it's an Australian show, it barely looks like a house at all.
Yeah.
Look, no offense to Australian TV, but you know, we're behind the times.
All offense to Australian TV.
Well, I will say the Australian TV used to be a lot more in line with that.
Yeah.
You know, like when you watch like Secret Life of Us, for instance, which is for those for international listeners, Secret Life of Us was, I think, a pretty sort of groundbreaking kind of TV show for our generation. It was, you know, your classic like bunch of friends living in what was kind of considered like a dodgy kind of suburb in Melbourne. They're all, I guess, in their like late 20s, early 30s. Normal things of like, it was more of a drama than a sitcom because they would, they would have real problems like, debt and But that was very. I feel like that was more normal.
Yeah,
like when you looked at their houses, those looked like real share houses.
They felt lived in.
Yeah, that's the difference.
There's mess, there's clutter, there's
Yeah, that's the thing that
effects.
bothers me now about TV is that these don't look like normal people's houses. It really takes you out.
Yeah,
because I'm like, oh, that looks like a set.
Yeah,
I don't care about these people.
No,
they're just actors.
They're just actors.
Well, I don't care what they think. They're not really having a crisis of self-confidence around their job.
No, they're clearly working right now.
Yeah, but yeah, it's fascinating to see the way shows have changed in that way, and it is kind of, there is that nostalgia when you watch a show from this era because I don't know, there's warmth to it, even if it's not a particularly good show.
Yeah,
it feels, I don't know, feels cozier.
Yeah,
I don't know what that is. I need someone who's smarter than me to write like a really good essay about it, so I can read it and articulate my feelings.
Yeah.
But also, I think nostalgia is kind of like very common in people our age because modern times are so terrible.
It's a hellscape.
It's a hellscape. Culture is dead. Art is breathing its last breath.
Yeah.
Modernity is a curse. All that stuff.
All that.
Did you have a favorite sitcom of the time? Did you like sitcoms at the time when you were younger?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah,
hugely into sitcom. I mean, Seinfeld was a classic. Loved Seinfeld. I was big into British sitcom. I watched quite a lot of like Spaced. I loved.
Yep.
The Royal Family. I really liked.
Oh, I don't know that one.
It's like a British family living in like. They're in like a housing commission flat, and it's mostly just like very gentle. The family sitting in their living room watching TV, eating chippy dinner.
Cute.
People coming in and out of the house.
Yeah.
But just delightful to watch.
Very rare to see poor people on TV anymore, unless the show is explicitly making fun of them.
Exactly. Again, just that very like cozy family operating like a family.
Yeah. Just like
who enjoy each other's company and are funny and
and there doesn't need to be like a chaotic backstory or
no.
I think it's also the fact that comedy is very hard to. Comedy's hard. That's fundamentally. But I do feel like a lot of scripts now, when you watch them, they all sound the same. They all sound like Marvel comedy.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah. There's not enough risk taking anymore.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of pressure to make your comedies a dramedy. I guess because it's a broader appeal, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, and I guess you have to appeal to the most amount of people in the smallest amount of time.
It's easy to promote if you make something that sort of sits in the middle of everything, and then you can test it on focus groups and see what they reckon it is. That's how you choose how you.
I feel like I've seen, like, I don't know if it was a video or just a tweet or something, but, somebody who was going through, like, I never want to hear these jokes again.
Yeah.
And a lot of them being, like, just that shit that just comes up all the fucking time. Like, I don't know what's a good example of, like, a tropey fucking hack joke. Something like, he's right behind me, isn't he?
Yes, yeah.
Or, what, a joke that comes up a lot. I don't know who first did this, but... Whenever somebody says something about someone sleeping with someone, like, oh, you slept with her, they'll always say, twice.
Yes.
Like, I feel like that's oddly, not common, but I feel like it's been done enough times that I notice it.
Yeah.
And it's like, where do these jokes come from? And people just go, I like that, I'll have that in my show.
Yeah. I think it just absorbs into people's brains, and half the time they don't even realise that they're doing it. It just becomes part of your vocabulary.
Yeah.
Just slips in.
You know what I will say is a sitcom that I still really love today? Just Shoot Me.
I love Just Shoot Me. It's great.
If I think I've said this on Twitter, but when I think about how much of my personality I based on Dennis Finch when I was young,
that's troubling.
That's so bad. Like, because I was like, I was like 12, 13 maybe at the time when I was watching it. Like, I really wanted to be this like sarcastic little fuck.
Yeah.
Because he was like kind of sassy. Like, it was I don't know. I think
Yeah.
I just resonated with this stupid fucking character for some reason. It's alarming to think of how much effect David Spade has had on my life.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a bit upsetting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You never want to have to think about David Spade that often.
Really
Hey, David, if you're listening. You did good work back in the day. Remember those films you did with Farley? They were fun.
They were great.
Yeah, they were good. Yeah. But yeah, look, I loved that show because they had some very, very silly jokes that were kind of like they used to make a lot of jokes about they would make a lot of jokes about, like, for instance, like Wendy Malick's character being like a drunk and promiscuous and stuff, but she was in on the joke, which was always very fun.
Yeah. She was my favorite character. She was definitely like, that is what I aspire to be.
I still remember a joke that that's on there that was somebody accuses her of sleeping her way to the top, and she says, excuse me, I slept around a lot because I was promiscuous, not ambitious. That's very funny.
Wonderful.
She's great. Love Wendy Malick. What's she doing?
What is she doing?
I don't know. I hope she's doing well, is what I hope.
Yeah. I feel like I saw her pop up in something recently and I was like, it's Wendy. But I cannot for the life of me remember what it was.
I think she does pop up in The Single Guy. She's on the long list of various guest stars. Anyway, we have talked a lot about sitcoms and not very much about Jeffrey Combs, but but that's okay because he's not in this very much.
No.
But you know what? He's doing good.
Yeah.
In this,
He does great work in this.
I'm annoyed as I often am that he didn't do more comedy, like straight up comedy with his life.
Yeah.
And I think he has said as much. I think he has said in his career that he would have liked to have done, like a dad on a sitcom type of role. And I think he would have been...
He would have smashed that.
He would have been really good. He doesn't have to do this sort of like camp character that he did. But I can't remember if I've said this previously, but when you've watched as much Jeffrey Combs content as I have, which is not a small amount, you do pick up a lot of things. And an actor that I think he is influenced by, not to say that they're like exactly the same, but... I think that he has a lot of Jack Lemmon in his performances. Yeah, I wish that he had gone more down that road of like good, not super broad comedy, but just like good sitcom comedy.
Yeah.
Walton Goggins, if you're out there, love you, baby. Come on.
On your gog.
Friend of the pod, Martin Dunlop, put this into my head, and now I'm going to give it to you guys so that you can't unthink it either. That Walton Goggins fits very perfectly in the song Rock and Robin.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Walton Goggins. Yeah. So now whenever you hear or see Walton Goggins' name, you will think of that song.
It's going to be that cadence. Great.
And it will not be, you won't be able to unthink it now.
Thanks, Martin.
Yeah. And thank you to me for infecting... It's how all viruses go. They just get spread. Well, thank you, Elyce. Anything to plug?
We don't have a date locked in yet, but I'm doing a charity art auction of portraits of Gina Reinhardt, probably in Coburg, probably mid-June.
Yeah.
Keep an eye on my Instagram, I guess, for details of that coming up.
What is your Instagram?
It's Elyce.Phillips. Come along, buy some portraits of Gina, and we'll give the money that you give us to, there's a couple of really great Indigenous environmental charities that we're going to give the money to.
The context for this event may be lost on some international listeners if you want to fill them in.
There's a wonderful Indigenous artist, Vincent Namajara, who did a portrait of coal magnate Gina Reinhardt.
Richest person in Australia,
Richest person in Australia.
Yep.
Up there in richest in the world, I think.
Yep. She's
very disgustingly wealthy.
And a disgusting human being as well.
A disgusting human being.
Yeah.
He had a portrait of her in an exhibit of his work at the National Gallery, and it's not the most flattering portrait, but it is just his style. There's a lot of portraits that he's done of a lot of famous people that look like that, but Gina requested that the National Gallery take the portrait down. They said no. She has since also donated a portrait of herself to the gallery.
No, use this one. This one's better. Imagine being the richest person in the country, up there in the richest people in the world, and still giving a fuck about someone doing a slightly unflattering painting of you.
So yeah, we thought we would just help her out by getting some other portraits done for her.
Yeah, ask and you shall receive, Gina.
Yeah.
Yeah, I cannot wait to see what no doubt very flattering portraits come out of this.
Yeah, look, I may have started painting one depicting Gina as Saturn devouring his son because I know that she likes more traditional art. She likes the classics, and I just want to give Gina what she wants. She should have everything.
She should have everything she wants, being a a good and decent person as she is, and definitely not a disgusting blight on humanity.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that sounds really fun, and I will post the original portrait on the socials, and you guys can
stunning.
see. It's a really good painting.
Yeah, it's great.
And yeah, it's slightly unflattering, but you know what? She's
honestly, compared to the monster that she is, I think it's a deeply flattering portrait.
Yeah. It's very indicative of what is no doubt like her personality coming out through the painting.
Yeah.
Thanks, Tilly.
Thank you.
You've been great.
Yeah, you've done a real good job.
I've really enjoyed your thoughts on the sitcom. You're welcome. Order in the court.